everyone. Welcome back. I'm Raz, and we are joined by the entire cast of Kleiner's Kravenarium, and we are back in the Faroe Islands. And so are you, because you've come and joined us. How's everybody doing tonight, team? Are we doing well?
Yeah.
Wow. Look
Woo!
at yeah.
Totally jazzed.
Totally jazz. All day, all jazz. Sounds
Deep
like
cuts for you.
Deep cuts, right? Oh, Jesus, I could make a bad joke. But welcome back. And yes, we're going to jump in right to part 6 of chapter 3, which I think what did we name this one? Vindrik? I don't remember, because it really didn't have a name to start, and then it kind of did, and then I think I changed it again. So that's sort of my scattery GM brain. But yes, we will be getting started with what we had. So last time, just for a reminder for the viewers and listeners, mostly listeners that are following this on our different platforms, the team did stop a gentleman by the name of Harald Torvald from getting taken by the Bindrikker. As a matter of fact, it didn't show at all, and he stood on the beach screaming for it to come get him, which I think just made Steiner and Cyrus even more upset. Like, what? You want this thing to get you? Fine, run towards it, you bastard. And it never showed. And we also had Adelaide and some of the others find out after some investigation that the young girl that had been missing is actually being secreted away in a house what we believe might be of a grandparent or an older aunt, but we have somebody like that. So she is actually perfectly fine. And they've come to the thinking that they're doing this to keep the man, the husband safe, that they didn't want him to go and be one of the sacrifices. So they've concocted, or maybe the wife did by herself, this situation of the child missing. So that's where we are. Okay, team. So yes, it is next morning. I believe it's sometime in May. Let me say, this will be May 12th now, I believe, or 13th. Call it the 12th. And we're going to pick up there. The carnival is milling about. The odd jobs are pretty much gone now because the village doesn't really want you anywhere near it. But it's daybreak, it's morning, and the food has now stopped. So you're on to only what supplies you have left. But Max still doesn't seem like he wants to go.
Of course not.
We need to head back into town. I want a reaction shot. What is going on, especially now that Harold's still alive. So
okay, all right. So that's everybody's just gathering real early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you make your way. You start making your way down the road. And funny enough, Steiner, you are somewhat simpatico with Sven, the mayor of the village, because quite a few of them are coming up the road as well. About 20 men. And from this distance, 20, 25 men, yeah, something like that. And so the fishing boats didn't go out today, right? That sounds like a good portion of the group from Vestmana. But as they're coming up the hill, it doesn't take an observation roll or a look-see with one of your skills of observation to notice that they appear to be what you might define as semi-armed. A couple shotguns, a couple pitchforks, a shoddy rake, a scythe,
pitchfork perhaps.
Right. So you got that kind of a vibe going as they're making their way up the hill, and they see you and the team making their approach down the hill. And I'm sure you're stopping at what would be considered a safe charging distance. Like everyone's looking at each other like,
just enough for a double move so I can get my charge bonus on there?
Sure. Yeah. Whatever you need. Yeah.
Okay, sure. D&D joke there.
Yeah. What are you doing? Why are you coming down this hill? Why are you coming anywhere near this village?
We were heading back in to find out how Harold is.
Harold is alive.
Okay.
It's not okay. It did not accept him. Your interference from the other night has scared or moved Bindrikker off. You shot the man down. Then last night we hear again the sound of your gun.
I shot the first man down as well.
I know.
Bindrikker took him.
But not now.
He didn't show up last night.
Just didn't show up.
This is a problem.
Why?
Right, but I think you agree that if he didn't show up last night, but we did the same thing we did the night before, we have no bearing on what's happening. So I suggest you drop the pitchforks and this whole mad town routine because this cult is getting old.
You are far from your boat home.
He draws his saber.
The guy with the pitchfork steps forward.
I'm not far from my saber.
There are 4 of you and a blind child. You have caused this village a terrible, terrible fate now. It did come back. And that is on all of you.
I hate to interrupt,
Yeah,
but
go
I'm
ahead.
going
please.
to.
Because the men are ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to.
So, just real quick before all of you start poking each other, I just want to say there was something off about your ritual before we arrived. The child went missing before we arrived. And from everything that you've told us and the village has told us, that is not part of your ritual.
No.
So things have been off since before we came. So I think it would work best for all of us and get us out of here quicker if we work together to find out what went wrong in the first place.
You are speaking for this, all of these? You.
I'm pretty smart, yeah.
Whatever you do, don't pull out the puppets.
Yeah, please don't do that.
That
You
will
whisper.
devalue this entire thing.
I'm
just
going to
wanna-
show you how smart I am.
Billy
Robin,
says,
you're up.
Oh, my baby.
Right. Right. That's what I'm
Listen,
getting.
peace is nice. Stop fighting.
Yeah.
listen to the little lady.
All
I
I
know they're
We all
not hand
just get
puppets,
along.
but
She is so smart, yes.
You want to help fix this.
We want to restore harmony.
That's all
You-
we've wanted from the beginning.
No, what you've wanted to from the beginning is to meddle, is to interfere in our ways, not fix it. You are here to fix it. We work together.
We work
Together.
together.
None of you have made it easy to work together.
We wouldn't have had any problems if you had left when you agreed to leave.
And 9 people would be dead.
So far, only 1, but 9
I'm sorry, is
needed.
there a wise woman around here I can speak with? Because the men
Mercy
keep
steps forward.
getting
Mercy steps
sidetracked.
forward in the wrong direction.
I am a wise woman.
Mercy walks to the right.
into the corner, into the field.
The men keep getting sidetracked. I need a
Yeah,
woman to
so
speak to,
it's-
please.
So, Mr. Mayor, Sven, sir.
May I call you Sven?
She adds the sir because she realizes, crap, I'm 14 looking. It's, if I may, my friends and comrades at the circus, when we found out that the little girl was missing, if you recall, we did, every last one of us has been looking for her, and we would continue looking if you hadn't called us off and wanted us away from the village.
Can someone get the blind child telling me she's looking for another child out of my way? Can you let the adults speak?
She can
Please.
speak for us.
She is
This child can speak. And the men are just
She
like,
she is wise beyond her years.
Thank you.
forgive me, speak.
All I'm saying is that we may have come at possibly the most inopportune time for your village. And for that, we apologize. But when one of yours went missing, we agreed to help. We didn't ask for charity. We worked for our food. And we are we are strangers here and outsiders and unfamiliar with your customs, yes. But at the end of the day, we don't want any of you to come to harm. We don't want to see someone sacrificed. We don't want any harm to befall your village. How is that a bad thing? And if 5 honest to goodness people believe that we can make a difference and come together and work with you to deter this thing, to expel it, to lift the plague of this monster that befalls your island, why are you resisting so much?
A person comes running up the hill, about 17, and he stops and he looks at the 5 of you, and then he leans into Sven and he says something, and he goes, "How can we work together? How does this happen? What is your plan?"
Well, I think we need to sit down and share what we know
Mhm.
with you, and you can help us understand the history, and maybe together we can make more sense of what is going on and how things have fallen apart.
Yeah. Agreed. Let us go to the general store. I will have a table set up for us. And he turns, and the men are like looking at him, and he just goes like, "Let's go."
Who was it that ran up? Did we know?
One of the younger
don't.
men, fishing fleet guy.
Hmm.
It's just somebody from the town.
All right.
Came up, whispered something to him, and he was like, "Okay."
Mercy reaches
I
up
look
and
over at Steiner and I say, I do not trust them, not 1
Yeah.
inch.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, this feels icky.
Yeah.
This feels like a trap.
Yeah.
This feels icky. Adelaide, you should go too. 'Cause if anything goes wrong, we can count on you be more icky than them.
Oh,
In a bad situation, child, you could swallow one of the villages.
yeah, I'll just swallow their guns one by one. No worries.
See, you always bring the right tool to the job. I've
Yeah.
always said that. Adelaide,
Yeah.
rock on. All right, so
What
yes.
have we talked about Adelaide eating Bone Drinker? Have we talked about that?
We have.
Well, I was
Okay.
mentioned, but I think it was really that's a big ask.
The
It
eater,
Yeah,
the
it is.
eater
Bad
eating
idea.
the eater. That's
That's a
interesting.
tomahawk steak even for Adelaide. That's a big
Tomahawk steak.
that's a big ask.
That's
I mean,
a Tony Baloney sandwich.
Right, Tony Baloney.
The real question is, do we make her eat the grizzle?
So down you
Yeah.
go, and a
That's fun.
table. It takes a few minutes, but some of the men start to disperse. Some stay outside the general store. He sits down and brings you in. There are 5 or 6 that stay in the room with you. Kind of leaning up. One is a gun. They're not leaving him alone with you by any stretch of imagination, but it seems like they're sort of calming down a little bit. So the mood has shifted at least back to a neutral path.
Okay.
And you sit down. They bring out the local whatever they drink. It's probably
We're good.
some form of
We're fine.
And Steiner's like, not happening. but we ain't falling for that gambit.
No.
Yeah,
We've
none of
been
them are
gaming
drinking.
too long.
None of them are drinking. Try this. Sure.
Right. So
For you.
right.
Absolutely.
They have a little bit of that, and he sits down and he says, "What of our history? What do you need to know?"
What is the history of the bin drinker? What tell us the story. Is there written tales of it? These creatures. I'm just going to lay it on the table. These creatures we see. We have encountered other things, not the bin drinker, but we have encountered other paranormal creatures. I don't know if that'll translate well. Fairies. I'll throw out a couple other words.
Trolls.
Monsters, trolls,
Trolls,
fairies.
monsters, sure. And this is just one of them. These can be placated. They can be fooled. They can be driven off. But we need to know more about them.
We have never had a Nahankta not to completion. We have never had a Nahankta be interrupted. We have prided ourselves that for the centuries that this has endured, our village always did its part. And once man speaks up and says, Torshavn had it break down once. I know.
And
There
what
is an island 40 minutes from here. The village that owes the Nihankta on that island is Torshavn. They have had a Nihankta that did not go well. They survived. They normally, I have never heard the tale how, but they still exist. And it is famous among all the Faroese Islands, the 18 islands, that they had a situation that did not go well, that they had broken the chain. Now, I know very little besides that, because our forefathers always said it would be stupid to antagonize or anger the Bindriker. Torshavn suffered a bit for it, but they survived somehow.
So is there a tale? Is there anything written?
Torshavn, they have that. I do not know.
So I have a question. When was the first telling? When did the Benbricker first come to the islands?
It was not long after our people settled here. Less than a generation. I think it was one of the things that it was the peace that we had to make with the islands for the sanctuary and the shelter of it. The tales say that it was our ships landed and dismantled to make quick homes. We were prepared for the winds and the driving rains of the season when they landed. And within a few years, we began to cultivate and try to make a life here. And we encountered Odin had to come and make the deal and promise that we would pay our fair share to the islands for the fruitful bounty that they would provide. And that was before the first elders had passed. It was soon after we landed.
How did that turn into Nihankta? How did you determine that 9 people had to die?
Odin, in the parables and the stories, Odin tells us in his own words. It is a gift of 9 men for the sheep islands. Pharaoh means in our tongue sheep. Just what must be done. So this village, Vestmana, was second or third founded. Torshavn was the second, I believe. There's one older, but it is now gone. They've relocated deeper inland. So that it actually, Torshavn then would probably be the oldest of the villages that still perform the Nihankta. And it is only something that happens as it goes through the islands. You only face it once in your lifetime. If you're not chosen, you'll never be chosen. It's not like it happens every year. It's not like that. It's every 20 years. It's once a generation. It's a small price to pay. I wish you'd understand how small of a price that is for the sea to give its bounty, for the safety, for no plagues, for no loss, but an old life. We do well here. This is not. We don't see this as a curse.
But it is a constant weight on your shoulders. It is a constant gun at your back. It may come only every 20 years, but it controls you in every possible way.
Are you Christian? I ask, please. Are you Christian?
Depends on the day.
We don't have that here. If your faith comes and goes, that is with you and your God to settle. We don't have that here. We know the old stories are true. We can see it. We see what happens. We know what happens to Torshavn and these places. We don't want that to happen here in Vestmana. We have always done our part. We have always.
But what of the island that you said did not do their part and yet somehow survived? Has anyone talked to them?
I don't. We have never wanted to. I don't know. I can't tell you more than what I know. Torshavn is 15 minutes by boat. It can
15?
be reached. 50.
Okay. 50.
50.
50.
So I think what I personally am most worried about is that there is a creature, an old creature, a powerful one, that is representing itself as Odin, but is really not. I am worried that you are being taken advantage of.
Tricked by a monster.
Whether his, I don't. Odin had many guises. He
You're
was
right.
What
an
if it's not from Odin? You're assuming it's from Odin. Why? What made you decide it was Odin?
What makes you
Did
think
the creature
that
tell
your
you so?
Jesus Christ is a salvation? What makes you? Oh, you don't believe in anything. You come and go. It says. But what makes a Christian believe that a man on a bisection of wood would save his soul, or cause him to be damned to an eternal hell?
I say, sir.
The faith.
Hey.
But
Right.
there's a danger to blind faith, which is why I come.
He looks at Mercy. That was unnecessary, sir.
Yeah, I am quite dangerous.
Blind faith. That was unacceptable. That was
the child notwithstanding.
blind faith. Is I am so sorry, Mercy. That was cold even by my standards.
Listen, that was almost my stage name.
Blind Mercy.
No, Blind Faith.
Oh, blind faith. There you go.
Come on, that was funny.
That was good.
Let me ask you this. Is there any place uninhabited, unexplored on this island? Someplace forbidden. You said that this was how Odin made peace, how your people made peace with the islands so that you could live here,
I mean,
which sounds like that there might have been something here before.
if this is possibly true, it can be interpreted that way. I am sure. If you look at it like this, there's no place we are that, by today's standards, 1,000 years from when these islands are settled, 900 years. No, we've covered the island. I mean, it's not to that expansive big. We've gone and walked and we know our islands. There are still stories of places that hold sacred power, but not like this. Nothing as important as this ritual. The others are days of remembrance and observation, but this is a price that is paid. There's a difference.
Our argument is that the price doesn't have to be paid, that there is another way out. And point of order, Betty, I don't know if you were there for that episode. We saw it come out of the ocean. I'm not saying
It appeared to come out of the fog by the waterline. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, not to say it couldn't be on the island, but we're making the
Um,
assumption it's probably from.
Could be a cave near the shore under
be.
just 100%.
Right.
Could be.
Okay. So the school, and there are some buildings around the village that have symbols, protective symbols. Do those actually work to keep the creature away?
Let's see if you're going to get this out. 'Cause this is going to be interesting.
Go, Betty.
Give me a manipulation roll.
Ooh, I'm good at that.
Oh, you would be because you have little puppets.
Little puppets, Robin says. We
Tiny puppetses.
Ooh, and I get 2 more dice, so I've got 2 success.
You're fine. You
roll
got it. Yep.
other 2 success.
One of the men has been listening to this whole conversation, and he's the one with the shotgun. It's unfastened. It's open with the shells are in it, obviously, but it's at that open position, just resting in the crook of his arm. And he's like, "Enough, no, Sven, no. This is on you." And Sven turns to him and he says, "You let him live. The name was drawn. The door marked. You let him live. You felt pity when his daughter went missing. You. Bindricker came, it took what it wanted and realized it was the wrong man, and it's on you. And the village says so.
Who marks the doors? Who decides who's taken?
The name is pulled.
So there's a
And then
group
the-
of men who pull names out of hats and decide the fate of others.
And then the Bindricker marks the door to say that
Who-
he accepts the sacrifice.
Wait, so you give, forgive my impertinence, you give Bone Drinker a hat full of names?
No, we pull the names.
Oh, so how does he know the names? It.
We don't know. The name is called, and
Hmm.
the Bindricker marks the door to say, yes, it is accepted.
Oh,
Is it possible that the person that's marking the door is in your own village and playing God with your own people to protect
No.
him and his family or her family?
No.
That
Who puts the
Every
names in the hat?
generation? No.
Who puts the names in the hat? Don't be silly. Don't be
All
nice.
the men do. Again, you are spitting on our traditions. You say
nobody
you want to
is
help, but
spitting
you
on your
judge.
traditions.
You judge. This is the
We-
way it is done.
We are getting off track. Sir, with the, sir, Mercy gesticulates in the direction of the man.
Yeah.
What
she's
is your
talking
name?
To you, sir, the man with the gun.
The
Thank
man-
you. Thank you,
sir,
Yesenia.
The guy, the scary-looking guy with the gun. He says, his name is Feric, Feric.
Ferric, I do believe you make an excellent point. If we are looking for something that, taking away our motives to in what we believe is helping you, taking that away for a moment, figuring out what went wrong. If someone was picked and then didn't go, perhaps on that first night, the Bone Drinker was hungry enough, I hate using that expression, but enough to accept the sacrifice. But then on the second day, where is he?
We don't know.
No, so that's what I'm saying.
Perhaps he's moved on to the next town.
That does not happen.
Perhaps he's moved on. Perhaps you've...
No. If
But
we agree,
if sending the wrong
we
person...
agree that he is angry.
Right.
The man with the Ferric's like, we agree he's angry, and that's Sven's fault.
Okay. Okay. So what has that ever happened before?
Not here in Vestmana, no. If you are chosen, you go.
Right.
How
But
do you
it
know that
has
he is
happened.
angry?
He didn't appear.
But
Something
not
has
showing
gone
up
wrong.
doesn't make sure. If I simply didn't go to town, but I was somewhere else, that wouldn't mean that I was upset necessarily. You're guessing.
You're right, Mr. Cyrus Boone. I've seen your name on the wagon you live in. You're right. There would be no way that we who have dealt with Bindricker for 800 years could possibly understand. You've been here for 3 days. I'm sure you know much better that it is not angry. It is going to do something terrible now. The ritual has been broken.
Okay,
They're very upset. They're like flipping out.
it's,
Oh, okay. Let's
excuse me,
de-escalate.
what-
De-escalate.
I...
Calm down.
Would it be...
That was all RP Joe.
would it be out of the realm of possibility? This other village, the one that had a
Torshavn.
Torshavn, thank you, the one that had a Nihonk to go awry. What if a similar situation happened where they sent one, not one that he wanted, and then he just stopped coming?
It could be. We don't know. We've never heard their. All we've ever been told from when we were young boys by our forefathers and our all the males down our line. I've heard the story just like Sven has, just like all of us have. Do not disrupt it. Do not change it. Torshavn did. They paid a heavy price, but they are still here. I admit to you, the town still exists.
Okay.
What price did they pay? They're
we
the
don't
only
know.
ones that have broken it.
They're, as far as we know, they are the only village to ever have break-in
Okay.
in the Hunk.
I
they're still here.
personally would be interested in finding that out. Secondary question: how goes the search for the missing girl?
She is still not here. And Sven's like, I thought about replacing her father the next night, but if the Bindricker didn't come last night, I'm not sure it would make any difference. We have to somehow get him back interested, to bring him back, to get him to notice us again, because now he has walked away. And that means he's plotting something. He's evil. He's Loki seed. He's not right. He's going to do something terrible. Many will be hurt.
Let me ask you a question.
So maybe we should
What-
spend today searching the island.
Well, why is the child missing? Why did that make you decide not to sacrifice her father when he would have been sacrificed if she was home?
Because
I
he
do not
had no
understand.
chance to say goodbye to his daughter. The mother asked me for a favor. I pulled a different name.
But let's assume for a second, what if she was secreted away on purpose so that he wasn't taken? Isn't there a chance that
Nobody
there
would
are
do that.
people that are manipulating everything?
No, that would not happen here. No.
And what if you found out that it was?
It wouldn't happen here because it would put the whole village at risk. No, we wouldn't do that. I was foolish to do what I did, and now maybe it's whether
God,
it's
I'm
your
so
gunshot or my interference, but something has changed, Bindricker. It's moved it away.
I'm
It's-
so
we've-
freaking tempted. So freaking Evil Joel is so tempted right now.
Evil Joel says, "I know where."
Evil Joel says, "Oh yeah, Mister. Well, here you go. The town's
Yeah.
gonna explode
Um,
because the Jones
So-
here. They've been screwing with it."
So maybe today, until cooler
Ta-da.
heads can provide,
Little
Dale.
sound.
maybe we should spend the next few hours searching the island for the little girl, for signs of the Bendbreaker. All of
Well,
the
the
maybe
man
we
with
send
the shotgun,
maybe we
Ferric.
send a boat over to Torshaven.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what Ferric says. He goes, "It seems that the only chance we have is to somehow survive this. But if you are willing and you are interested, I can take you over."
Let's go.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm going.
Yes.
I'm in. Adelaide's like, "I'm in."
Yes, please.
So who is staying to look for the child, and who is going to Torshaven?
Well, I don't need to look for the child because I know where the child is. That was purpose.
By the way,
Perhaps we
I
should check the
have-
village houses again, maybe more closely this time.
We'll start with this one. Oh, look what we found.
Maybe we should
Are you-
check the caves. Maybe
do
Are
we
you-
go
let me
and
ask you a
warn
question.
them?
are you seriously going to Anne Frank this bitch? That's what I'm going to ask you right now. Because if you think that's acceptable,
Well, Nice Joel
No.
says no, but Evil Joel on my right shoulder is going, "Fuck yes,
No.
blow it up, man, blow it up." Because
What
I
if
know that I'm
we-
not alone here. I know that Steinar and I are both thinking, "Attack!"
But why?
if we
Why are
go-
you doing that?
Kind of.
We
Maybe
have
we're not
spite?
here to help them. Maybe we're here to take them down. We need to talk to the horse.
You
What
will
if-
accept our help.
What if we knock on the door and say, "Hi, I know what you keep in your root
Hi."
cellar. Maybe it's time to let it out."
right?
How
yes, on the way to
about-
the boat, try that one. That would be over. really
How
good.
about we go as volunteers because we know it's dangerous to go across the water to Torshaven. The villagers can continue to search for the little girl, and maybe we'll have a little bit more knowledge when we get back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to leave the little girl alone just because I don't want it. Her
People in the
family
village
doesn't
so
deserve
much
it.
better
Their
than we
family is
do.
just trying to save their father from
And-
this ritual
and
that you
Brenna,
want to
and in the-
dismantle anyway.
And to support the people of the Faroe Islands, they goofed. Or Sven goofed. But it was a joint goof, maybe. But
This is a joint. coup.
what makes you like in 900 years this has never happened, and now look.
Well,
So-
my favorite part of all this is they give him a stay of execution because his daughter's missing, but they find the daughter. Let's say, right? Oh, there she is. Aren't we so happy? Husband, look, here's our daughter, father, dad. Goodbye, and then they kill him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that was so glad. I'm sure the daughter would be so happy that she came home
Well, but you're willing to
because
you're
now
about to throw the
Daddy
door
can
open
tell.
and point at her and go, "Is that the little girl you're missing?"
This is a country song in the making. That's all I'm going to say.
I want to say to the three women that play,
I
you
think
know that
no,
thing
I
where-
wanted to give them
you know that thing where you see all the memes and things on TikTok, and it's like, well, my husband asked me where we wanted to eat. I said I don't care, and now we went, and I'm mad at his choice. That's a thing female brains work. Well, women, welcome to the male brain. You don't want my help? Okay, here the way this is gonna work. Load them, load them up. Here we go. We're going in.
Go.
They just, I'm here to do good. God damn it! You want to know why Batman does what he does? Right here.
Wait,
remember,
don't like
Sometimes
good,
we
we can
don't
be
need
really,
you to
really,
problem
really bad.
solve. We need you to listen.
right?
Amen.
done listening.
I'm saying, yeah, I was done
Yeah.
listening.
So
at
also, I wasn't
Windbreaker.
gonna give her up. Like, no. Let me make it clear. I wasn't going to be like, hey,
Mhm.
family, the thing in your root cellar. I
Mhm.
wasn't gonna be like, hey, it's here, villagers, little girl. They've been hiding her. I was gonna say, oh, rough her up a little bit, find her on the beach or something. Oh, look, we found her.
rough her up. A
Yeah,
a
but either
small
way,
child. You're gonna.
I like
You're
that
gonna
you want
put
to
her
beat a
through the
child. I
paces?
think that's
Like,
very
no,
caring.
like make it look like she's
It's
been in
very
the
Puritan of
wilderness.
you. Beat the child with sticks.
Your turn. It's your turn,
She
Cyrus.
is a
I'm not
sinner.
doing it. So I'm not doing it this
We
time.
have to make it look like you're in the wilderness.
Yeah. I'm not
You
doing
have betrayed Christ.
it. Just-
All right, so
Oh, shit.
we got to rough her up a little bit.
This is going to be a rough
Perfectly
episode.
shiny.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you've been hiding her. But if it looks like she's covered in mud and like gaunt or something,
I want to say goodbye to Adelaide, who I think will be joining us for the last time tonight. Thank you so much, Blair, for being a part of
Thanks so much
being a
for
part
playing
of
with
the
this evil
Godfather College
miscreant,
Kleiner
folks.
Kravenarium. This one went well, much more different than I expected, but thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so we're getting into
Nobody likes that
Ferrick's
plane.
boat, and he and his son are going to pull you over because there's no outboards, right? So they got to sail. They get out into they get over the waves, the crests. They get out and they start sailing to over to this other island that's just northwest. It's a little bit. It's like I said, it's about 45, 50 minutes by the time they get off the beachhead and everything. So you arrive in Torshavn sometime around like 9:30, 10 a.m. Big, good-sized village, a little bit bigger than Vesmana, actually. Has about 6,000 inhabitants. So you're talking about probably twice the size total. More condensed houses. Again, church, but even as you are approaching, the church sits up on a small hill. The windows are all boarded up. Church is gone. Like it doesn't appear to be active. Even from this distance, you can kind of tell the paint's been fading and chipping, and it's been like that for a while. But he beaches it. Villagers immediately when they see a boat and a sail coming into the bay, come running out. A little bit different than Vesmanans. They seem to be a little bit more, especially because they recognize the boat. Like Ferrick has done this before. They grab it, they bring him in, they see all of you, and they're kind of like looking at him, but they're not being rude. And the main reason is because Nihankta isn't here. Like they don't have to hide. To them, they're just thinking that oh, you're people that came to the island. Hey, welcome aboard. They're being friendly in that way as opposed to secretive. And
We don't have a monkey on our back. Come on, welcome.
right.
Yeah.
We paid our dues a while back. Come on
No
in.
sins here.
Right. So yeah, he lets you off. He and his son stay. He tells the villagers that you're here and that you're part of a traveling circus and you're trying to see if anybody wants to hire them to come to this island and perform for a few days. So he makes up this little story that he explains to you on the way over, but he does that and he releases you into the general population. But you can talk to anybody about.
We had 50 minutes to get over there. Is there?
Yeah.
That they know that we could talk to.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a Bori Keitelman. He's fairly knowledgeable and he's older now. Bori is in his late 50s, early 60s. Now, when Torshavn did this, they say it was a long time. It was a while ago.
Sure.
Okay. But they've been through a Nihankta in the last 60 years. Like their turn was 60 years ago. So he would have been a very young boy, like maybe 1 or 2 years old, like a child, when their last Nihankta was here. So, because it rotates around the islands. But Bori Keitelman, he says he is someone who knows much about the history of Torshavn. You should speak with him.
Perfect. Anyone else?
He says I would start with Bori. We do have a school teacher who keeps some of the local books and things. There's old wise women and in the village, but anybody. I would always, if someone said to me, who is the man who can tell you about Torshavn and spin you a yarn, it would be Bori.
All right.
Bori it is.
Yep. So it's not hard to find him. His house, it's Keitelman is on a little placard, doesn't really have a mailbox per se, but he has a little fence post that just says the name Keitelman. It hangs there. Nice little house, gnomes, little garden out front. Again, it doesn't have that hard pressing air, that feeling of something very terrible is coming. This town seems to be much more like, I'm not saying they're dancing around like the Dutch and sabots, you know, they're not doing tulip dances and shit, but you're getting a much nicer vibe from these people, a much more open vibe.
How are the fishing boats? How are the homes?
Homes
do
are painted.
People look sick?
No,
in any way.
But they tell you on the way over that their Nihankta went off properly about 60 years ago, like every 20 years. Theirs was 2 before. That Nihankta went off well. The one that Torshavn fucked up was years in the past, like 200 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Correct me.
No,
if I'm
they're
wrong,
back
group.
they're doing Nihankta like everybody else.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, group. I was under the impression that they weren't doing it anymore.
No, I didn't get that.
No.
It's just that this is the only time it's ever been broken, and that
they did it once
somehow,
and they paid a price for that. But now they're back on.
They paid a price. So let's get a tail. Let's figure out what that price was.
Right.
Glad we cleared that up now.
Yeah. All right. So his house is there. He's actually, even though he's an older gentleman, he's piddling around outside of his house. Like I said, he has a flower garden. He's watering that by hand. I mean, he probably doesn't have to water it. The Faroe Islands probably rains like 355 out of 365 days at some point. But he's maintaining and taking care of his yard. And he sees a group of strangers, and let's be honest, by all looks, you're pretty strange anyway. Approach his house, and he's like, "Oh, this is an odd gift to see on a bright day. Can I help you? You may be lost, maybe."
We're here to speak to you about Nihankta.
His face gets a little like, ooh, that's a hell of a way to open a set. Like, "Hi, I'm Steinar. We're here to speak to you about." You went right to the
jugular.
Yeah, I was going to say groin. Just
yeah.
Nice to meet you.
If I may, sir. Hello. My name is Mercy. These are my friends. We are from Kleiner's Kravenarium Traveling Circus, and we were told that you're someone in the village that would be a great person to speak with if we were interested in mythology and stories and history of the local area. You see, we're going to be performing in Scandinavia, in the islands, and then in Norway, Finland for a couple of for the summer months into the fall, and we wanted to learn more about local legends and stories. My friend Yesenia does a very scary puppet show for the children, and we wanted to.
It's always good to scare children.
Sometimes she makes laugh too.
That is always a hell of a funny thing to do.
Who doesn't love a good scare sometimes?
Not me.
Like ghost stories by the fire. No.
Well,
nothing.
Come in.
Thank you.
I think I understand what you are doing, and the very German-looking man can come with you. All of you, please come into my house.
Mm-hmm.
Steiner with that Austrian. It's Austrian, right? Or you?
No.
What did you declare? You're
Norwegian.
Are you? Or you are Norwegian? Oh well, then
Norwegian?
goddamn. Could you just be a little bit more patient with your people? You don't. You walk up like that?
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
Nihankta, let's go.
Yeah. My patience is not floweth over.
I just did a spit over. Take.
Yeah.
So in you go.
He's not a people person.
Yeah.
I'm not.
He sits everyone down. He brings another chair from the little dining room he has, and he puts it by the kitchen. He already has a kettle that's just boiling away. People, they pull it off to the side of the fire. It hangs, but it's still very warm. So he throws some teacups out and he pours. It takes about 15 minutes, but he's mumbling and talking and kind of asking names and what do you do in the circus. Then he finally sits down and he's like, "Okay, so you're here about the Nihankta. This is a word that very few off the islands know of. How would you have heard this thing, young girl?"
It was, believe it or not, it was a word that we heard coming over on the boat that brought us here. And I don't speak your language, so I asked Steinar what it was because he's Norwegian, and he didn't know, so we were just looking for answers. And is it something? What is it?
It is an old debt that is paid every 20 years. It is something that is required by the as an old score that is settled. A gift, a payment is the only way to explain. It is a dark thing, but it is one of those dark things that you do for the betterment of others. Did you? How did you come to our village? Did you land somewhere near Arshavin? I mean, the boat. The boat brought you in? The boats from the mainland normally stop near Vestmana.
We came
We
from.
came from Vestmana.
So he looks and goes, "I see." So you heard it when you were in the middle of it.
Yes. And it has gone awry.
How so?
Well, as an outsider, we don't completely understand the ritual, just what we've been told. But a sacrifice was nominated, and
We call it the gift here. We
okay,
don't say, but thank you. I understand.
so a person was selected and
Yes.
accepted by, I guess, a symbol on their door,
The Bindricker, yes. I
and
understand.
and then due to that person's child going missing, that person was not gifted.
They broke
was-
they broke a gift.
They broke the
Yes.
gift. Yes, that's exactly what happened. And now,
And on the second night, another person, not the first person selected, was sent, and it didn't show up.
so
Sven is still alive. He's still there, yes?
yes,
Why would he allow this to go? Why would he not send the name that was chosen? It is a pact. No one should have to be chosen out of turn. That is not right.
He did it out of empathy for it.
I don't know. He did it because he felt sorry for the man whose daughter was missing, and he didn't feel that it was.
It is a gift. It should not be seen that way. It should not. This is what we had to learn the hard way ourselves.
We were told that once Torshavn did not fulfill the promise. What happened?
We a man came to our village. He was a studier of nature and of the magics of the Celts. And he told us that there was a way within the legends that were told to us, a way by using the ideas of Loki and tricking, that we could draw the Bendricker by its hunger to another place and get it out of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We could do this. But we didn't do it right. The way it was told to me is that we drew him to a lake. We put gifts, very young gifts, 2 or 3 into a boat. And the rest of us of the village at the time, when there was fewer than this, but stood around the lake with torches. As soon as the sun went down, the boat was set adrift. Bindricker's hunger, it smelled it knew. And the pact was always that it should not touch children. It should go for a man adult. But no, this Bindricker came. It heard the song. It inquisitive. And this magical man, this man who knew the old ways of Eru and of Wales and Britain, spoke and said that under no circumstances were we to break the circle. We had to keep Bindricker from the children. We had to make him burn his energy, get exhausted, tire himself out to such an extent that there would be no fight left in him and he would just go away. And he did. He went away. And for years we thought we had succeeded. And then a sickness of the lungs came, and our people started, we had a terrible winter, 3, maybe 4 years after the ritual was done. And we started to lose people in terrible ways. And we told the other villages what we had done. The next village up was to perform the ritual in 15 years, and we told them the honest truth because all the islands were starting to suffer. They it's terrible. There was a lot of death among all the villages, not just Torshavn, and we felt that it was our fault that we had done something to upset the Bindrika, to break the oath. So we told them what we had done, and we said that we would move men to the next village, and we did. We moved young boys. We sent 9 of our young boys there because we had not paid the price. And then when they became men in 15 years, it was their names put into the lots and drawn, and Bindrika came back, and since then we've been safe.
So when you drew the lots again, he just started returning. No one had to perform any rituals or reach out to this creature at all. We come to think of it, that's not entirely accurate. The allotted day came, and the creature did not show. As a matter of fact, that's a very... Wait, I have a book. So he goes around, takes a couple minutes, he pulls a book out, and he says, I wrote this down because it was my father was it was time. His body was getting older. He had me late in life. I am the youngest of 3 children. Here. Yes. Of the 9 men, the first one that was taken as a gift was not selected by lots. A mark was left on the door, and the villagers knew it was time Bindrika had returned. Who left the mark on the door?
Well, the Bindrika. It is always when the name is called. But in this case, there was no name. He marked one of the doors of one of our 9 children from Torvashen and Torshavn, and he marked the door there in this other village, and the ritual restarted up again. They knew it was time. Bindrika had returned. But it does say here that it was almost 30 years. So the cycle had been longer. We had tired him out, but it mustn't have done the job extensively. We broke the circle. We didn't. We couldn't.
Stalled. It sounds like you stalled it, and it was because the agreement is it can't harm children, correct? It can't harm.
The agreement is that it's not supposed to go for children, but it's voracious hunger. If we leave no one on the beach, the man of nature had said that if we could just keep it off of the children for one full night, it would be so angry and so frantic, it would burn itself out, and it would be exhausted into it wouldn't go back to its normal sleeping place. It would die. It would die off. But
what happened
where is
to
its
this
sleeping
man?
place?
Is it known? No. He comes out of the fog.
What happened to the man that claimed that he knew old magic?
He left us before the ritual began. He did not stay. He told us what we should do, and he was gone. Some say they think it was Odin saying it was time to let the old way go, but when we failed in our task and our hearts did, parents panicked. The Bindrikar they thought had gotten through to their children, and one fled into the water, swimming and screaming for their child, but the children's were safe. But the circle had been broken, and the Bindrikar knew the trap was there. It figured it out.
Have any of the villages ever fought against it, come together to try to fight the creature?
There's stories that a few brave men have tried to hold it off, but no one has been able to succeed.
So, I may have missed this part of the story, and if I did, I'm sorry. But you said the Bindrikar, you drew it to a lake, and that you took the 3 young gifts out, and then the Bindrikar heard the song, which
it wanted to get to the lake. It wanted to get to the children.
right. How did it burn its energy out?
It's the man said that if we kept him away, if we kept him at bay, he would go that whole night without feeding, and he would
Right.
exhaust.
Oh,
They surrounded the lake and they all had the torches out.
They were trying to
Ah.
keep him at bay.
gotcha. Okay. All right. I understand now.
And by singing the song, I assume summoned him, but then they sang around the lake as well with the torches, and then he wouldn't approach the lake, correct?
Right. He was having a hard time getting in, but they say that a parent panicked. The
Yep.
bin drinker, using its tricks and its gifts, got them to break the circle, and then it got angry and it fled off, but it didn't burn all of its energy out. It hibernated and it came back because on the nights that the gifts go out, it has to either feed or something else is going on somewhere. It's doing something. In this case, it's seething. It ate and now it's seething mad, and you think it's going to take its toll on Vestmana. It's going to come back with a vengeance.
Yeah. Keeper, clarifying question, because I don't want to do it in RP because I don't want to.
Yeah, well,
Mercy doesn't want to draw attention to it.
1 minute. What do you got?
Oh shoot. Okay, we'll pick it up next episode.
All right, we'll pick it up next episode. Okay, so that's it for episode 6 of Bindricker, and we will see you next time. We are getting close. Things are starting to fall into place. I think the crew has a good idea what they want to do. It's just now getting Vestmana to agree with what probably is a very risky thing if they don't pull it off just right. But yes, this man was able to give them the information that they needed here in Torshavn, and they're going to take the boat back. But we'll pick all that up next time. Thank you so much. As always, I want to put up the names for all of our people because, again, can't do this without them. I'm sure you've heard me say that a bunch of times, but if you know anything, it's the truth. Let me make sure that's the right slide. It doesn't look like the right slide because somebody put a lot of slides on here, and I'm not going to be able to do that this time because my daughter ran a birthday game for us. Oh, look at that. I found it. So yes, now that I've humbled everybody, I figured that out. But yes, don't forget to say hello to all of us. And when you get a chance, come over to the Facebook page. It's now called Kleiner's Kravenarium and Cthulhu in Cairo. We still have the old show up there because we still have a lot of people listening to that one, which is kind of sweet. So thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.